can do a short introduction, unless you want to do it. Sure. So Krzysztof will tell us about how to save $1 million yearly introducing DevEx in your organization. And interestingly enough, this is going to be a crossing of development experience and platform engineering and how it involves and affects, in general, development experiences. And interestingly enough, how you actually can save money on this thing. So, without further ado, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Actually, it's a mistake because not $1 million, much more. So hi everyone, and first question for you. Do you like money? How many of you likes money? Earning money, spending money, and how many of you like wasting money? Because this is what companies do if they do not bring the DevEx into the table. I will skip that. My name is Chris. I work as a management advisor and head of DevOps practice in Exerizon. I'm also academic lecturer, platform engineering ambassador, team topologies advocate, blah, blah, blah. I have a YouTube channel. You can go visit. But let's talk about more important stuff. Are we not meeting too late? Like, it's 2025. I'm not meaning the hour of the day. I'm actually meaning the year. Because we maybe shouldn't have this discussion 5 years ago. What changed? Before 2022, we had totally different market situation. We had cheap money, banks were loaning on very low interest rates. We had stable world. We basically, in our part of the world, in Western world, we didn't have any wars. We didn't have COVID, and even if we had COVID, we had a lot of money again on the market available for the companies because we had COVID shields. But this year, this world has ended. What was important in this world? First of all, companies were more focused about the speed of delivery, and they were more focused about investing than looking at the cost of this investment. Because, come on, if they make like 5% on the investment, and the loan is like 2%, they are 3% on top, right? So the result was we had countless jobs in IT. We have a lot of open positions. Engineers were more and more expensive. We're like simply as aristocratic class if you compare it to other jobs. And then the developer experience topic was important because we wanted those guys to remain in our company. We wanted them to be happy because we didn't want to lose them because it was really hard to acquire new talents. And then 2022, Putin decided to conquer Ukraine. Hopefully, he failed already, so that's good. But what is bad is that we have really high interest in the banks. The money is no longer cheap money. We had wars, we have tensions, we have Donald Trump right now. And we are right now after the post-COVID, so all the money which was printed to defend us from losing our jobs in COVID right now catched us up. So right now companies are more interested into scaling IT and saving money on IT. They are thinking, okay, if this will bring me 10% and the interest rate is 11, I won't do it. They are only investing in the things which will really bring them a lot of money. Result, engineers are looking for jobs. Yeah, it was really strange for many of you, probably, that actually the LinkedIn messages are not popping up anymore. So should we talk about DevEx? I will tell you something, some harsh truth, that your managers don't care about your experience. Right now, they cared 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Right now, they don't. They care about your productivity. They care that the money they invest in your project will really be beneficial. And they care more about developer productivity than your happiness. Sorry, guys. But what if I tell you that actually developer experience can save you tons of money? And what if I tell you that companies burn tons of money on DevSecOps things and on SDLC processes without even knowing that they burn the money? There are three things which are expensive in IT: engineers, licenses, and infrastructure. So actually licenses won't be helped a lot with developer experience. Infrastructure as well, maybe usage of this infrastructure, yeah. But let's talk about the last pillar, which is, I see that, okay. I see the, okay, but it's readable, okay. Average developer earns in Poland like 120 zlotys per hour. Yeah, let's say that this is our baseline. And how the companies are burning money. First scenario is when the developer enters the new company. So I think everybody was through that, everybody here in this room. Then we have a ticketosis. We need to go to this team for access to GitLab. We need to go to DevOps engineers to access to deployment pipelines. I need some access to monitoring tool, another team, blah, 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 blah. Let's say that this, like, to have all the access to push the code to the production or to operate the code, I need to spend 1 week ticketing, reading, finding right people to provide me with all the information. 1 week of the one developer is 4,800 zlotys. Why? Because we have multiple distributed teams doing tech-oriented stuff. We need to know people in the company, and so on. Another burning money scenario is when the new team comes to the company. Let's say we are building a new system. We introduce new vendor to our company. It's actually the onboarding of the new developer, but scaled even more, because we need to provide this team with infrastructure. We need to provide this team with Kubernetes. We need to provide them with monitoring tools. We need to provide them with database, with maybe Kafka topic, something like that, and so on and so on. If we have distributed technology across the organization and we do not provide this as a service on one click, this team needs to go to the database team, they need to go to DevOps team for infrastructure, they need to go to security for approval before first deployment, and so on and so on. Sometimes they don't even know where to go, because there are 2 technologies, 3 technologies in the company. There are gray areas between the teams. We are infrastructure guys. No, we are not taking care about virtualization. DevOps say, oh, we just work on the container level, so how to install Linux on our machines? Who should do that? And another round. Or even if everything is provided, then this team needs to integrate all of that stuff in order to build the code. So first what they do is they build a code to build a code. Yeah? Let's say that it's 4 weeks from entering the company into pushing some code to production, and let's say that 60% of the effort is on this, roller coaster. It's almost 79,000 zlotys per one team. Another burning money scenario is deployment. Let's say we have everything done, like the project is at the end, or we have iteration. We need to go to production. And what we hear? We hear that we need to do some penetration test. We need to fill up this form, and this form for regulatory or compliance, some formalities. We need to orchestrate the deployment between multiple departments, like databases need to deploy something. We need to deploy something. DevOps engineers need to deploy something, and so on. There are a lot of gray areas also to be covered. Let's say it's like 1 week per deployment, and let's say, again, 60% of the effort of the average developer is spent on this orchestration of the deployment. Another example, bug fix, the same. Let's say that we don't have one monitoring system. We need to go to 5 different monitoring systems. Those guys are telling that it's not their fault because we are just taking care of this pod, this cluster. Those guys say, oh, it's not our fault because it's not our application. Where is the bug? 5 different monitoring systems. We're looking for the bug. Let's say it gives you one more day than usually if you had all of this integrated, orchestrated, compared to this mess. One day, not a lot of money per developer, 1,000 zlotys. Another burning money scenario. It really will be a lot of burning money today. Let's say we have business application teams, and we have DevOps team, which should cover all the SDLC for this business application teams. But they are providing incomplete capability. You need to do something in order to use it. Or they are providing tools which totally does not match our needs because they bought it somewhere or they saw it in KubeCon. They use schematic language, or they ask you that in order to use our service, you need to provide us with IP addresses, you need to provide us with this, and you're running around the whole company to get all of the information to use the service which DevOps provides. The end result will be that the developers will be frustrated, they have timelines, so they will pop, the shadow IT within the IT will pop up. Those guys will use their own QA tool because they're tired of waiting. Those will self-host their databases, or they create their own clusters just to be faster. Yeah? Let's say, and okay, for a short period of time, this will speed up a little bit, the delivery. But all of those tools popping up needs to be operated, needs to be maintained, needs to be upgraded, and so on. Let's say that 7% of the time of the team or people in the team are focusing on this tooling. Let's calculate all of this together. We have an average company, average big company, 300 developers. Let's say 10% of the developers are coming to the company. One developer is doing like 10 bug fixes during a year, 6 deployments during a year. Those are real numbers from my experience. Let's say that we have 5 new companies coming, 5 new teams coming each year, and let's say that all of the time they spend, it's like 7% or 5% time on the tooling. Average cost of this, of lack of DevEx, simply, is almost 9 million zlotys yearly. Yearly, $2 billion for average big company. What is hideous about this situation is that actually your managers won't see that in Excel, because all of the guys here, they will report that they are working on the application. They are 85% true. Yes, 85% of the time they are working on the application. But there is this 50% of the time which they are actually fighting procedures, fighting technology, workarounding what you already have in the company, overcoming, learning new DevOps tools that they introduce, seeking information, filling thousands of tickets, and so on and so on. All of this is related to developer experience. If you have all of this covered, the developers simply do not spend time on it. Why? Because developers love writing code, and they love solving problems which are business problems, and they usually don't like this 50%, 15%. Okay, you will find some developers who love to fight technology problems, but you should fire them because you simply get the developers to solve your business problems, not technical problems, usually, in the business applications teams. So what we are aiming to do is to reduce this 50%. And here comes the platform engineering. Platform engineering is a new discipline, which or maybe Steve will say old, because it's actually old, but renamed differently. We simply enhance developer productivity by reducing the complexity of tools and processes. if we reduce the complexity, if we reduce the entry barrier of using the tools to build application, or to deliver application to production or fix the application, we have platform engineering. Our goal is to reduce this cognitive load. I like the team topologies approach to this because they say that, okay, in company you should have like stream-aligned teams who should be focused on the business value streams, and you should have platform team or teams which primary goal is to reduce this 50% of the of their overwork, let's say. They reduce the cognitive load. How they do that? They should analyze what is the cognitive load is, simplify it, and deliver this as a service so the developers can use it without further burden. So simply platform teams are making system to make and operate the other systems. It's very actually, if you get the Anita's idea that 10% of the work developers spend on fixing problems, if you combine this all together and place in one place, you will also end up with platform. But I believe it's a more expensive way to do that because platform team really can cost you less than this 10% of effort. How it can look like if you do it right. Let's imagine onboarding or developer onboarding or team onboarding. Let's imagine that we have team which comes to their company and they say, okay, we are going to write a code. And for this business application, in this language, for this many users. And they put one request into Jira in one place. And then platform team delivers everything they need to do to write this code. They deliver the namespace in Kubernetes or cluster, they deliver repository. In this repository, you can find a demo application in the language language you are going to use to write the application. This demo application is connected to observability. It's already approved by the security. It has its own database. It has some publisher to Kafka. It has sample API exposed, blah, blah, blah. And you have this in less than 15 minutes. It's actually a real case scenario from one of the platforms I was delivering recently. So from the 79,000 zlotys, you reduce this to an expensive lunch, actually, because they are not waiting. They have one place, they only wait 15 minutes to be delivered. How to fix other numbers and how to build a platform. Usually, all of these blue lines, all of the blue boxes you already have in the company. You already have Kubernetes, you already have monitoring, and so on. What you need to do is to reduce the duplication here so that teams are not spending the 7% and make a simplification and unification on the orchestration layer and interface layer. So you need to recognize what your developers need, automate it, and propagate it to the level down. This is how you reduce this bug fixing problem, because you have unified platform to see everything. This is how you reduce the deployment problem, because the application you are being provisioned with at the beginning is already pre-approved, and you already have everything to deploy this application up to production. So this will work only if you change a little bit the operating model of your company. What is the operating model? Operating model is simply how we work, what teams you have, what responsibilities each team have, and so on. In order to define it, you need to do analysis, like classic software analysis, because building a platform is also building a software, just building a software for software. And this is a result of the analysis, and this is the input for the architecture of the platform, for the technology of the platform, and so on. Many companies are doing this another way around, and they simply fail. Introducing platform is like 80% organization change and 20% the technology change. simply. Because technology is really simple to be delivered. Like if you deploy Backstage, you deploy the orchestration, you unify some clusters, you unify monitoring tools, security tools. It's not very complicated thing. The complicated thing is how to organize it into this SDLC process. And this how to organize this into SDLC process is this organizational change. And as I said, do the analysis. Just like you do this with the business, like if you're writing a business application, you will simply ask your business people what this application should provide them to do their job. Do the same with the developers. Deliver that, then operate that, and have the feedback loop. If you don't, the common mistake is that engineers, especially the DevOps engineers, they like to deploy something first. They deploy Backstage and see how it works. They deploy orchestration and see how it works. Or they build the whole platform without even talking to developers, and they say, now migrate to my platform. Or the common mistake that managers do is that they think that it's an IT project. It's not an IT project. It's actually an organizational project. The result you're going to have with this approach is actually the counterproductive. It's going to be even more cognitive load if you do that way. What I suggest is to do this analysis first. Then even if you create the platform, if you're a DevOps engineer, take that burden of migration of the existing application to the platform on your shoulders, not on the developers' shoulders, because this is the platform for your developers, not for you. And convince your management it is actually organizational work. It's work organization change, not the technical project. That's why I think it's good to talk about platform engineering to C-level people. Yeah. My advice at the end is if you don't know how to do it, then just don't. The approach with giving 10% of the budget of the spending to developers to make them build the platform components is much better. My approach for platform engineering is faster and cheaper, but you need to do the analysis, and this is the hard part. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for your questions.
That's why this time I'm on this side. I believe you're missing one thing in your equation. This is the cost of the investment in creating a platform engineering team, and what is it?
The cost of what?
Creating this team and turning.
Yeah.
Reorg for the whole company.
I would say maybe as an example, a first version of a platform which I built 2 years ago for this company size was built by 6 DevOps engineers. At the first 3 months, we actually fought. We reduced it from 15% to something about 9% for first 3 months. Another months we spent on reducing this even more. At top, we had 12 DevOps engineers working on this per year, and the cost was like 2 million zlotys, something like that. So if you have this 10% of the whole company waste, it's much more than 2 million. With organized approach, you can do that without organized approach. You will succeed, but it will be more expensive, and managers right now really cares about money.
I didn't see anyone on that side of the room, so next question from Bartek.
Thank you. So let me follow up on your question. So how you typically deal with the situation when someone is challenging you that the cost of change will be too high? Because bringing new practice to the organization is super costly, and you need to get the buy-in. And sometimes even showing an amount of savings might be not enough to justify this or get the buy-in at the end of the day.
So maybe 2 answers. First is go to the right people. If you go too low, to engineering manager who only sees, or infrastructure manager, for example, who only sees his spending. From his perspective, it will be much more expensive than it should be. Yeah. But if you go to CIO or COO, maybe COO is actually a better person, where the cost of operations, when they see the cost of operations, then I'm pretty sure you will convince them on the numbers if you show them the waste. You can even, sometimes I was even doing this analysis for free. Like I did multiple exercises, and I actually provided them with real numbers. And if you don't have this buy-in in the real numbers, don't do it. I mean, it's their money they're wasting, yeah? Find another customer.
Our question, just let me take a look there. The one there, I think.
Thanks a lot. So you mentioned that on the first iteration, you reduced the cost from 15% to 9%, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Can you share the details of what you measure and how that you are so precise in the exact percentages?
First of all, our platform was 80% of the platform was service provisioning, this service. This one, because we had a lot of new teams coming to the organization. So we quickly calculated that if we reduce that for like 30 teams coming, it will be a huge money. So that was actually our buy-in for building a platform. And reduction of the 7% was mostly mostly on this. Because bringing a platform, we actually unified the whole environment, and we started to migrate the first existing applications into the new technologies, and those blue boxes here started to disappear. And after some time, we saw that we analyzed the Jira tickets, how many time they spent it on the handling those tools. We calculated that, and we saw that actually like 5% of the most of this disappeared. So people were no longer taking care of the tools. Only DevOps engineers were taking care of the tools in the DevOps team. Oh, something, okay. And this DevOps team was only like 2% like we reduced the 7% of the time to overall 2% if we see on the DevOps team work. Does it make sense? Okay.
Any more questions? So one more here. Anyone else here? No. All right.
Thank you. How about small teams? I mean, you shared an example of a big company where it makes sense to cut some expansions, right? What about small companies, especially with legacy solutions and a lot of custom build?
Yeah, if you don't build a lot of software, or if you don't operate a lot of software, or if you have like only 5 teams, 10 teams, then I would say don't do platform. I mean, you don't need it simply. The amount of money we'll spend building a platform will be bigger than the waste of the developers. Yeah, it works in scale, I think. Or don't build the platform by yourself. Look at the market. Maybe there are companies who are already providing you with such capabilities for the smaller price than you build it by yourself. Thank you.
Krzysztof. It was a great presentation.
Thanks.